Power hides behind badges and clipboards, masked by routine traffic checks. On a sticky night in rural Georgia, 2 cops stopped a black woman driving an old pickup, assuming she was exhausted, harmless, and alone. She seemed quiet, easy to overlook. They barked commands, forced her onto her knees, and pressed a gun to her head like she was an animal. They had no clue she was an ex-Green Beret, skilled in psychological ops and tactical accuracy. Maya Jennings didn't react yet, but when they crossed the line, they sparked a fuse, and Maya knew exactly how to topple the entire system. Before we move on, tell me where you're tuning in from and hit subscribe. Tomorrow's episode is one you won't want to skip. Maya Jennings steered her father's old Ford F-150 through the familiar roads of her youth. Each corner brought back memories she thought she'd buried. The truck's engine murmured low, a sound that took her back to Sunday drives with her dad. The late-day sun stretched shadows over Roosevelt Street, where kids once played hopscotch and jumped rope. Now, cracked sidewalk sat deserted. She adjusted her rearview mirror, catching her own reflection. 16 years in Special Forces had left their traces, not in scars, but in the sharp alertness of her dark eyes. At 40, she still carried the same strong build and upright posture that had served her in uniform. Her natural hair was tied into a tidy bun, neat and sensible. The neighborhood had shifted. Where Miss Johnson's flower shop once bloomed, a vape store now glowed with neon. The old barbershop where her father got trims every 2 weeks was now a dollar store. They called it progress. To Maya, it felt like decay. She slowed the truck near Central High School. The brick building looked unchanged, its windows catching the sunset like sheets of copper. Maya remembered sprinting the track here, setting records that probably still held. Back then, her biggest worry had been making it to practice in time. Different fights now, she muttered, thinking about the Veteran Help Center in Atlanta she'd just left, 12-hour days spent guiding soldiers through PTSD, depression, and a system built to crush them. She'd made a difference there, but the burden had grown too heavy. Every story of betrayal, every rejected claim, every lost life, each one hit too close. The truck's tires crunched onto the gravel driveway of her childhood home. The modest 2-story house could use fresh paint, but her mother had kept the garden alive with her father's favorite roses. The American flag still fluttered from the porch, her dad's flag, the one they'd handed her mother at his funeral 6 months back. Maya grabbed her duffel bag from the seat, old habits stuck. Everything she needed fit in one bag, and stepped out of the truck. The warm evening air smelled of magnolias. A wind chime clinked softly. The same one she'd mailed her mother from Germany during her second deployment. "There's my girl," her mother's voice. Inside, the house looked exactly as Maya remembered. Family photos lined the walls, her West Point graduation, her dad in his postal uniform, her mom's retirement party. The old leather armchair where her father used to read the Sunday paper still sat untouched in its corner since the funeral. "I made your favorite," Diane said, leading Maya into the kitchen, "chicken and dumplings, just like Grandma made." The kitchen glowed warm and bright, yellow curtains catching the day's last light. A pot bubbled on the stove, filling the room with the taste of childhood. Maya set her bag down and helped her mother set the table, slipping back into their old routine. "How's the packing going?" Maya asked, eyeing the boxes piled in the dining room. Her mother had chosen to downsize and move closer to her sister in Augusta. "Slow," Diane admitted. "Your dad kept everything. I found tax papers from 1982 in his desk just yesterday." She paused, stirring the pot. "It's so hard choosing what to hold on to." Maya nodded, feeling the truth of it. What do you keep when every item carries a piece of the past? She'd faced the same question after every deployment: what to bring forward, what to leave behind. They ate dinner together, chatting about safe subjects, Aunt Sarah's flowers, Cousin Marcus's new baby, the church bake sale. Maya mostly listened, letting her mother's words fill the quiet spaces. After dinner, as they loaded the dishwasher, Diane suddenly pressed her hand to her forehead. Oh, I nearly forgot, I need to pick up my prescription from the pharmacy. My blood pressure meds. Maya checked the clock. 9:45 p.m., I'll grab it, Mom. The 24-hour place on Madison. You don't have to, honey. You just got here. It's fine, Maya said, keys already in hand. You should rest. I remember the way. The night air was cooler when Maya stepped out again. She climbed back into the truck, the seat still shaped by her father's frame. The engine turned over with its familiar growl as she backed out of the drive. The streets were calm now, most homes dark but for a few porch lights. She drove past the old church, its steeple cutting a black outline against a sky full of stars. A few cars sat in the lot of the 24-hour Walgreens, its harsh fluorescent glow an island in the night. She parked close to the entrance, scanning her surroundings out of habit, exits, sight lines, places for cover. The windows reflected her truck's beams, ghostly in the glass. Maya shut off the engine, not noticing the two patrol cars lurking in the shadows of the nearby lot, their occupants watching her every step. Maya pulled away from the Walgreens lot, her mother's prescription tucked safely in her jacket. The night had grown darker, the streets nearly empty. She took the back way home, an old habit from tactical driving days, avoiding main roads when she could. Suddenly, red and blue lights flared in her rearview mirror. Maya checked her speed, right on the limit. Her hands clenched. The squad cars halted behind her, their spotlights flooding her mirrors with a harsh glare. Maya kept both hands at 10 and 2, breathing evenly, just like she'd taught so many veterans in her de-escalation classes. Deputy Shane Toever came up to her window, flashlight beam shining straight into her face. Officer McCrae moved to the passenger side, one hand resting on his holstered gun. License and registration, Toever drawled, skipping any greeting. Could you tell me the reason for this stop, officer? Maya's tone stayed calm and steady. Broken taillight, Toever said, his voice dripping with scorn. And now you're giving me lip? No lip, sir. I checked all my lights this morning, they were fine. McCrae's knuckles rapped hard on the passenger window. He barked, license and registration, girl. Maya's jaw tensed at girl, but her voice stayed even. I'm going to reach for my papers now. She moved slowly, carefully, pulling her license from her wallet and the registration out of the glove box. Toever looked over her license, lip curling in a sneer. Says here you were military. 16 years in special forces. He scoffed. Well, look at that. One of those. Diversity hires. Maya's pulse sped up, but her face didn't change. Sir, I earned my rank like everyone else. Step out of the truck, Toever said, his hand drifting to his gun. That's not needed for a taillight ticket. I said, out. Toever ripped open her door and drew his weapon. Hands where I can see, M. Maya obeyed, moving with calm precision. The gravel crunched under her boots as she stepped out. McCrae had moved around, his gun drawn too. You people never learn, Toever spat. Always got to make it hard. I'm not resisting, Maya said quietly. I'm fully cooperating. On your knees, McCrae shouted, stepping closer. Maya stayed put. That's not a lawful order for a traffic stop. Toever shoved his gun barrel against her temple. The cold metal brought a sharp chill, not fear, but the deep, hot anger she hadn't felt since deployment. Think that fancy training makes you better? Toever hissed near her ear. Down. Maya could have dropped him in 2 moves, both of them on the ground before they blinked. The reflex was there, begging her to react. But she knew better, this wasn't a combat zone with clear rules. She sank to her knees, gravel biting into her jeans. That's more like it, Toever laughed. Now this is respect for the badge. Look at her. McCrae snickered, pulling out his phone. Not so tough now, huh, soldier? Maya didn't answer, her mind recording everything. Toiver's badge number, the slight shake in McCrae's trigger hand, how Toiver leaned heavier on his left leg, old injury maybe. The exact time on the cruiser's dash clock in her side view. Got some nerve, Toiver sneered, pressing the gun harder against her skull. Coming back here, thinking you're above folks. Need to remember your place. A car rolled by on the main road, headlights sweeping. What you think, McCrae? Toiver said, voice dripping fake thoughtfulness. Run her in? McCrae dropped his phone, satisfied with his trophy shot. Nah, let her go. She got the message, didn't she? You, girl? Toiver mocked. Maya stayed silent, eyes staring straight ahead. She calculated distances, memorized every face, etched each word into her mind with razor clarity. On your feet, Toiver barked, finally lowering his gun. And fix that taillight. Wouldn't want to pull you over again. Maya rose slowly, her dignity untouched despite the gravel pressed into her knees. She walked back to her truck without glancing at either deputy, her steps precise and controlled. Have yourself a blessed night, Toiver called after her, his laughter echoing as she slid into the driver's seat. In her mirror, she saw Toiver show McCrae something on his phone, the picture of her kneeling. They chuckled together before heading back to their cruisers. Maya waited until both squad cars rolled away before turning her engine over. As she passed the chain-link fence, she spotted Jalen Harris, phone still raised, ducking behind an old oak. She didn't react, gave no hint she'd seen him recording it all. The truck's headlights cut through the night as she drove back home, every light on the truck shining perfectly. Her hands gripped the wheel steady, her breathing calm and measured. To anyone watching, she seemed composed, but inside something had shifted, a switch flipped back to a mode she thought she'd buried, morning sunlight spilled through Maya's bedroom window, stretching shadows over the worn wooden floorboards. She stood at her dresser, carefully dabbing concealer over the bruises on her knees, a trick she'd mastered long ago in the field, hiding scrapes to stay mission-ready. Her mother didn't need one more burden on her mind. Downstairs, the smell of bacon and fresh coffee drifted up through the house. She watched a sedan roll by for the second time in 5 minutes, making a mental note. How'd you get hold of that info? She asked. Let's just say, Doc lowered his voice, I still have contacts in unusual places. His tone dropped even more. Listen, I pulled up your service file. It was accessed yesterday afternoon from the county sheriff's system. They knew exactly who you were before they ever pulled you over. Maya's jaw clenched. That's not possible. Those files are restricted. Then someone's got clearance they shouldn't, or friends they shouldn't, Doc said, keys tapping in the background as he typed. And here's the kicker, you're not the only one. I'm seeing a string of stops, all black vets, same county. Way too many for it to be random. Maya reached under her seat, grabbing a small external hard drive. I wired up dash cams after my last tour in Afghanistan. Front and back, always recording. Smart move. What did you get? Doc asked. She plugged the drive into her laptop. Checking now, but something's off. Files are scrambled. Video cuts out right before they reach my truck. They're running signal blockers, Doc said. Basic police tech these days, they claim it's for officer safety, but it conveniently knocks out civilian cams too. Maya scrubbed through the glitchy footage. Got some audio though. Picking up chatter before they flipped the lights. She turned the volume up. That's her. Green Beret part. Keep it clean. Stick to the script. Show her how we do it. The audio fizzled into static. They were waiting for me, Maya whispered. It gets worse, Doc added. Local news is already.